Hello, what's up, guys? Early insight UFC 240 Adesanya versus Romero. I'm here a couple of weeks before the event takes place in Las Vegas and kind of just giving you my early thoughts on the card and some of my early leans before really getting into watching some of the fights and really getting some concrete picks down. So, yeah, I really enjoy doing these, especially a couple of weeks out, and then moving into tape study to see how it really changes and what kind of picks that I've went a little bit different on from my initial gut feeling and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoy this too. I've had some people that have messaged me say they really like this. I really like it. Just looking beforehand before looking into it, because I think this is a great fight card. I really like the two title fights up top. And then you've got Sean O'Malley returning. I'm looking forward to seeing Rodolfo Vieira again. Mark Madsen, the guy coming out of Denmark that we know a little bit about. Movsar Evloev's a guy I really like. So yeah, looking forward to it. I see some guys in the chat already, Wayne. I see you there. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. This is something I do every month before the pay-per-views. I look into the pay-per-views and break them down before really getting into good tape study and getting my concrete picks down. Give me a thumbs up. It always helps. But like I say, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and let's grow the channel. Let's see where we can get to, because I'm already at a place where I didn't think I'd ever get this big. So let's just see where we can go. So, like I say, this is not my concrete picks for the event. Kind of my initial leans and my gut feeling on the picks there. I'll try and keep an eye on the chat there if I can. And I'm just kind of going off Wikipedia. There's no event order, about order in place for this yet. So, looking at Wikipedia here, starting off, we've got about, which was supposed to be Movsar Evloev against Douglas de Silva de Andrade. Douglas de Silva de Andrade pulled out, and now we've got Jamal Emmers moving in to face Movsar Evloev. So we'll start with the newcomer, which is Jamal Emmers, who's a guy I know about. He fought in the Dana White Contender Series. He's a guy that I've known about for many years because he's fought and actually beat some legit competition out there. 17-4 record, fought very recently against Rafael Barbosa, a guy who was coming up through the scene through LFA with I think it was 11-1 record. Beat Jay Cuccinello's a guy that was an Ultimate Fighter finale. So yeah, I kind of know about him. Kyle Machedo's another guy that I recognise. But you look at a couple of his wins now. On the Dana White Contender Series, he lost to Julian Erosa. That's not a good look, because Julian Erosa's been in the UFC twice and he's been kicked out of the UFC twice because he's not all that great. But he's got really good wins. I mean, he's got a loss to Thiago Moises, who's in the UFC. He's got a win over Corey Sanhagen, who, it would not surprise me if that guy goes on to wear UFC gold some point in his career. So yeah, he's got Alexander Hernandez, another guy. Alexander Hernandez, another guy. If you've got a win against a guy that's in the UFC, that's been in the rankings in the UFC, that's always a good look. But when you look at him here, he's a guy who I think is very efficient in many areas. But like I say, there is some things from, like, he's been knocked out. I think he's a strong grappler. I don't think he's anywhere near as strong a grappler as what Evloev is. We've seen that Evloev keeps up a really good pace, just a solid striker, really good grappling. And I really, like I say, just bringing up and look at some of his stats here, Evloev, really, and I'm seeing all these people on Zang already. I've got a different take to that as of right now, but I mean, Evloev, really good takedown efficiency, decent striking, just a really good fighter. A guy that I've had an eye on for a long time. Hard to get down himself, but when I talk about his efficiency, he's not like his percentage doesn't really jump out as being strong, but he keeps going. He chain wrestles really well. He will attempt takedowns, back off, move into an ankle pick, or move into a single leg, try and clasp onto something and try and take you down. He's not one of these guys that's going to explosively take you down. He will work for his takedowns. Very good at it. Lands a high number of strikes as well and doesn't really absorb all too much. Like I say, this is a hard fight to come in short notice for someone like Jamal Emmers, in my opinion. A really tough look. But he's since he lost to Julian Erosa, he's really been he's won his fights, and he's beat that Barbosa kid. I really, really like that. I think we will see him in the UFC one day, and win fights in the UFC. And anytime you can come in there with wins over Sanhagen and Alexander Hernandez, it's always a good look. But probably lean in Evloev in that one to kind of start off the picks on the card there. So we've got Denai Batgaral against Guido Canetti. I've actually got Guido Canetti in this one initially off the bat, but like I say, this is one of the ones that might open up. It's hard to trust someone like Canetti because he's 40 years old. He's never really been all that great, and he's kind of run even through the Ultimate Fighter Latino America. It was never really a strong look on there. He's come into the UFC. He's one of those guys that I think will win a fight, lose a fight, win a fight, lose a fight. So just looking at his record here, Henry Briones losing to him, getting submitted, not good. Beats Hugo Viana. It's a win, nonetheless. It's a win in the UFC. Kyung Ho Kang was always just a bad matchup for him, but he actually started that fight off relatively well. Probably won the first round, majority of the first round, before getting submitted at the end of the first round. Beat Diego Rivas. He came in as a big underdog in that one, if I remember right. It was in Chile, so it was in Rivas' hometown, home country, and he kind of got the upset in that one, and then he lost to Chito Vera last time out, which is, he lost at home against Chito, which is not a bad thing because Chito is making his strides into being a top 15 guy. He's making humongous strides, but he's a guy who's super aggressive. I think he gasses a little bit too easy. I've seen he's been at Team Alpha Male for this. When I move over to Batgaral, he's a guy that it's been at Jackson Wink. You go on his Instagram and you have a look, and you see that he's been getting pictures with Holly Holm and John Jones, and he's been there for a long time as well. But like I mentioned last week, we're in New Mexico for Rio Rancho, and a lot of the former Wink Jackson Winklejohn fighters have moved to Jackson Winklejohn's Acoma, which is a new gym that is opened, and a lot of the fighters, Vanata, John Dodson, and other fighters have moved over to that one. So there's not that many that's really focusing in on the big gym. These seem to be focusing on your Holly Holmes, your John Jones type of fighters that are going to get them big fight, more money into their gym by the looks of things. So Batgirl, I think he's been at the big Jackson Wink gym, which I don't know whether that's a good look considering I don't know what guys are still in there, because Jackson Wink has been kind of declining fairly fast. Not declining, just they used to be the kind of hub of a lot of fighters coming into the UFC, and it's really battered on back down to not having all that many guys come out of that gym and being successful in the higher parts. Batgirl, when you look at him, he came in against Haile Alating in his debut. Fought tough, but ultimately I had Alating winning that fight. Excuse me, guys. Came in there like super aggressive, tried to really get in his face with his striking, but he just couldn't really stop the takedowns, and that's really where the fight was kind of won and lost. The striking disparity was heavy in his favour, but he just could not stop the takedown, and he struggled to kind of get back to his feet. But he lands a high output of strikes, so this could be a really fun fight between two lower level guys needing a big win here. So I'm kind of leaning Guido Canetti before really getting into that. I'm only going to be watching a couple of fights in those guys because there's not much on Batgirl out there, and we've seen it enough for Canetti to realise that he's going to win certain fights. This might be a spot where he wins a kind of fight like this, but as of right now, probably leaning Guido Canetti, but we'll see where we end up with that one. Emily Whitmire against Polyana Viana, low level women's MMA fight. Emily Whitmire fighting out of Vegas, so she's fighting out at home there. Invited Viana. I mean, she's just not looked good in her UFC tenure. She came in initially. I thought she might have a little run, but she like her only win in the UFC is against Maya Stevenson, who was horrific. Really not a good fighter. And then you look at her fights outside the UFC. She was fighting not great opposition. She's got a win over Amanda Rivas, which is an amazing knockout. If you go out on YouTube and watch that, it's actually a pretty devastating knockout punch. But her 3 UFC losses, lost a couple of decisions, and then she got submitted last time out by Veronica Macedo in the first probably 80-90 seconds of that fight. Lost to Hannah Cyphers in a pretty close back and forward fight there. And JJ Aldridge, which somehow she was a massive favourite in that fight. I've no idea how she managed kind of be, maybe it's just the recency bias of having a win in the UFC that really propelled her to be a big favourite in that one there. But she got in the Aldridge fight. It was fairly close, but Aldridge was definitely landing the bigger shots, popping the head back. Then you move on to Cyphers. Cyphers was just too aggressive. That was a close fight. But to me, the aggression of Cyphers really took over. I thought she landed the harder, better strikes. And then you can't really take much away from the Macedo fight. She got her down, she got armbarred, she got taken out. But she's supposedly a black belt as well. Only in the UFC because of Thiago. I don't know about that because they've separated, Rob. Thiago Santos has moved on to Yana Kunitskaya by the looks of things. So, yeah, moving over to Emily Whitmire. I've been kind of burned by her a little bit as well. I actually bet Alexandra Albu in that when she was an underdog, and I thought Emily Whitmire, I wasn't really convinced by her, especially with a win over Jamie Moyle, who had no real need to be in the UFC, in my opinion. Lost to Gillian Robertson. That was a kind of a fight there with Gillian Robertson caught her in an armbar. She catches girls if she gets the opportunity. She will take it. And then Amanda Ribas, that was just a bad style matchup. She was never... Ribas is a girl you're going to have to keep an eye on in 2020. She looks really good. I learned my lesson picking against her last time. Mackenzie did, and especially after the spot, Mackenzie coming back after having a baby and all that. But Ribas is a girl you should keep a close eye on. But Whitmire, Viana, close fight. I think on the feet I'd probably actually... I probably actually favour Viana, even though her striking's not that good. But on the ground, I think Whitmire might maybe give her some problems. I mean, if Macedo, I think, is a brown belt by trade, and I think from what I'm hearing that Whitmire really concentrates on her jiu-jitsu and her control on the ground. So that's something that she might look at here. But then it wouldn't surprise me if Polyana Viana came out here and submitted her. So honestly, coin flip fight for me, I couldn't really be super confident in either goal there. Maybe lean Viana, but it's a pass fight betting wise. I don't think I could ever really get into that. So I see you guys. What's up, Lidoses? I like that, brother. Thank you. I appreciate that. Mark Madsen against Austin Hubbard is up next. I don't know. In fact, I'll bring up the betting lines. I might as well mention the betting lines while I've got this here. UFC 248. Where are we? Yeah, bring that up. Mark Madsen. So he's a minus 230 favourite, and Austin Hubbard's plus 190. I think that line's a little bit inflated in my opinion. When you look at Mark Madsen, he's only had the one fight in the UFC. He's not a young guy by any stretch of the imagination. 35 years old, fighting out of Denmark. Got a medal at the Olympics. For Greco-Roman wrestling, and then he came into the UFC against Danilo Belliardo and absolutely blitzed through him. His takedowns are legit, really good, solid, explosive takedowns. But if someone was to really push this guy, I think it would be very interesting. I really do, because Hubbard to me is a very hard-nosed fighter. He's a hard guy to take out. I don't think he's ever going to be great. Or one of these guys that's maybe got prospects that are hitting the top 15 of the division. But I think that he's a really hard-nosed, tough guy to fight. And he could maybe give Mark Madsen problems here. But also I can see Mark Madsen, if he gets those takedowns, like Davy Hamos did, because Davy Hamos really exploded into the takedowns and controlled him in past position a little bit. If Mark Madsen gets in those positions, I'm going to find it hard for Austin Hubbard to really be effective on the ground, and this is where the fight could kind of mostly take part. So I'm interested to kind of looking at this because I know who Mark Madsen is. I've watched all his fights, predominantly in Europe, because he came through Cage Warriors. They really pumped him up in those Copenhagen cards, and he got his opportunity to come in here. And this is maybe where we're going to try and get more American eyes on him and get him into a pay-per-view, a big pay-per-view, big names up top. But yeah, I think Hubbard could pose in some problems. I'd be interested to see this fight going a little bit later if Hubbard could stuff a couple of takedowns. I don't think he could, but like I say, I think initially he might come out very strong. He might start to fade late. So I'm not writing off Austin Hubbard there, but I'm looking forward to kind of digging in and seeing more about his takedown defense and so on. Because Davy Ramos is just a big, explosive dude, and he had opportunities to maybe submit him in that one there, if I remember off the top of my head. Probably leaning Mark Madsen. I think the line is a little bit inflated there at minus 230. But yeah, it's a fight I'm looking for. I'm looking forward to seeing Madsen again. There's a lot of hype with that guy coming out of there, out of kind of Scandinavia with that guy, even though he is at a fairly bigger age at 35 years old. Jared Mearshot against Deron Wynn. I mean, I got burned by Deron Wynn last time against Darren Stewart. I thought he was going to show up and be such a better fighter than he showed in that one. But that's maybe taken away from Darren Stewart, who has moved himself into a really decent UFC fighter. He's really garnered his confidence, really picked up everything recently. And I mean, he got takedowns in that fight, but he got completely outboxed in that one. Completely like beat up a little bit. And Deron Wynn, I mean, he's going to get takedowns, but he's so easily hittable. The Eric Spicely one, he got pinged on. He also ripped up Eric Spicely in that one. But if Deron Wynn is getting takedowns in this one, he's maybe playing into the game of Jared Mearshot, who's probably got a massive submission grappling advantage down there, offensive submission and grappling. So, yeah, when you look at Mearshot's a very, very crafty vet. I mean, it says he lost to Eric Anders. I gave him that win. I thought he beat Eric Anders. I thought he outstruck him and landed the more significant strikes. But the judges somehow gave it to Eric Anders. So, beat Trevin Giles before that. Nice submission in round number 3. A pretty low output kind of fight. His takedowns really took off in his top position, really won him advancing positions and so on. It's hard to trust Deron Wynn in this kind of instant here, because if he takes the fight to the ground, then he's open to maybe getting submitted. Boxing wise, he's short. I think that Mearshot's never really been a competent kind of striker. I think he's shown that he maybe made improvements in it actually in his last fight with that. But this is a hard one. Maybe edging Mearshot in that one actually. But like I say, Deron Wynn, I see him. I believe he'll start to make improvements and start to put some of his potential together, but maybe he's just not kind of made out for the kind of top organisation in the UFC because he's so small, and it's hard to see him really making 170. He's going to be outsized in this division really, really badly, and I don't know. I'm probably edging Jared Mearshot there, but like I say, I'll watch a few fights, see if I can pick up anything, and kind of go from there, but maybe edging Mearshot in that one. Alex Oliveira against Max Griffin. Alex Oliveira is minus 150 to Max Griffin's plus 130. I like Alex Oliveira in this spot, but it's hard to be, like, he is so up and down. Like, he's had so many things outside the cage. I think the Brazilian police were after him for supposedly hitting his gull, or there was something regarding a motorbike as well, so who knows. But he's like lost 3 fights in a row, which is not a good look. His UFC career is probably on the line here. In fairness, his losses are to good, solid fighters. Gunny Nelson, Platinum Mike Perry, and Nicholas Dalby. He was just in a tough spot in that fight there with Nicholas Dalby, it being in Copenhagen. And it was a close fight. I definitely thought Dalby edged it though. But he's really, since that knockout of Carlo Pedersoli, way back towards the end of 2018, he's just not been the same fighter. I think he's had so much stuff going on outside the cage. Hi Jack, what's up, brother? Price Salikov. I hope Salikov knocks him out. Not a big Nico Price guy. I'd like to see Salikov pop him there, but yeah, I think the stuff outside of the cage is really starting to affect him inside the cage. And we've just not seen the kind of tenacity that we're used to seeing with Cowboy. So when you look into Max Griffin, like, I bet him against Zlim Mamadayev, and I was fairly confident he could do that, but his gas tank is not good. And he made, supposedly he made big improvements for that for his last fight against Alex Morono. but he still fades really, really badly, and it's hard to trust the guy, especially with the physicality of someone like an Alex Cowboy Oliveira, where, like I say, he is super physical. But Griffin has fought these type of fighters before. I mean, your Colby Covington, who was really rinsing, repeating takedowns in that fight. And like I say, he's been in there with bangers as well. Mike Perry, Thiago Alves to an extent. Imadaev's always looking to knock the head off you, but he's very open to being countered, and there was a lot of bad blood going into that fight as well. I'm probably actually leaning Cowboy Oliveira. I think -150 is actually a decent number, but it's like I say, his confidence is bound to be low. It'd be interesting to see if he made his way out to American top team, which I hope he did, because if he's staying in Brazil, I think he's probably getting hyped up too much up there. Who knows what he's doing sparring wise? At least if we know he's at ATT, he's going to get good sparring, he's going to get good coaching, and we don't know what that's going to be if he sticks in Brazil. So I'm probably leaning as of right now. I'll probably stick by Alex Oliveira in that one there. Beneil Dariush against Drakkar Klose. This is a close fight as well. Drakkar Klose has made his way up to being given a better kind of caliber opposition here. Don't know what the odds are for that fight. Benny -145, Drakkar Klose +125. Lots of people have been off Beneil Dariush recently just because his chin is so susceptible a little bit. But I've probably bet him his last 3 fights against Moises, against Camacho, against Dober. And I mean, some of those guys had spots in the fights where they were getting to him. Dober hit him up a little bit and was looking like he was invested in the fight, but then ultimately got caught via submission. And then he did the same with Frank Camacho. Lots of people think that the power's going to come through here, is going to hurt him. I mean, he's came through and he's got 2 submissions, he's got 2 performance bonuses, and Beneil Dariush is still a really hard guy to face up with. And with someone like Drakkar Klose, who is a wrestler by trade, I think he's moved gyms he's went to the Fight Ready gym with Eric Albarracin and Henry Cejudo and so on, but he's really kind of moved himself into being a decent fighter after that loss to David Tamer. I'm just going to bring up some of the stats there just to see what I'm looking at. Drakkar Klose. But yeah, he's a guy that's been shouting out for, he was wanting Gregor Gillespie, I think, after his last win over Hiagos, where his striking's decent. It's something that's definitely improved. Now, him being at Fight Ready with Eddie Shah, I can see that getting better. Him having more and more time with Eddie Shah. Now, Eddie Shah moved from the MMA lab over to Fight Ready because he didn't think he was getting enough kind of rub of the green. What's up, Black? I see in the chat there, brother. So he's one of those guys. I think you're gonna see a lot more of the fighters under Eddie Shah make some big improvements with their striking, and not being varied off to different guys like MMA Lab does. So since that loss to David Tamer, I thought David Tamer just fought a good fight, fought at distance, picked him off. That's what happens. Drakkar got a couple of takedowns, didn't really make much of it. Then he went to Lando Venata fight. I mean, Lando Venata is there to be hit at striking wise, and if he can get takedowns, which he did, just the odd one, that's enough to win him the fight. Bobby Green, hard guy to face because Bobby is so light on his feet. He can pepper with a lot of strikes, got high output, and initially he won that fight, even though I thought that was a little bit of a... I wasn't sure that he should maybe have got that one so kind of unanimously. And then the Hiagos fight, he took some licks in that fight, got taken down a few times. He got the takedowns. That was a close fight, but then he was calling out for that top 15 guy, and Gillespie was that one. Obviously, Gillespie's been knocked out, so he's fallen down the pecking order a little bit. But I'm probably sticking with Beneil Dariush until I've got someone who's got absolutely massive power. I'm not saying Drakkar hasn't. He could catch him with a shot. We've seen that at the weekend with Corey Anderson, and that if you've got any kind of decent power, Jan Blachowicz is not known as a power striker, but if he throws the correct shot, you can knock him out, and that's the same with Beneil Dariush. That's the danger of betting someone like Beneil Dariush is his chin. It doesn't take much to get hit, and I mean the strikes that he's been hit with have been devastating knockout blows. Let's not forget that. But I'll probably be picking, when it comes round to fight week, Beneil Dariush in that spot. I like him in that one. Rodolfo Vieira against Saparbek Safarov. What's the line for this, actually? This is bound to be massive. Rodolfo Vieira -750. that should probably be higher. This is a setup fight. Well done, the UFC. This is something that's going to get Adolfo another win in the UFC. I was impressed a little bit with Vera. We all know about this guy's skills on the ground. If you've watched some fights out there or BJJ matches with this guy is an absolute monster on the mat. And if he starts to put his striking together anywhere near it's good that he can maybe mask some of these takedowns or get the fight to the ground, he's going to win a lot of fights and he's going to be a dangerous guy that people aren't going to want to fight. We didn't really see too much from his striking, but we've seen what the guy's all about once he gets to the ground. He wasn't as dominant as I thought he was going to be because Bahota managed to get back to his feet a couple of times. But eventually, if you give this guy opportunities on the ground, he's going to catch you with something. I think if he works on his conditioning, works on his gas tank, this guy is he's gonna be a really dangerous guy coming up in that middleweight division. And Saparbek Safarov, he won a fight in the UFC last time out against Nikolai. I'm not going to even butcher that surname, but he outstruck him, got takedowns, passed guard easy, and like I say, that was a way back last year in London. Not seen him again since. This is a setup fight. I think the aggressiveness that he's got is going to really play into the hands of someone like Vera. He's going to come forward and I think he's just going to walk into a takedown, get this fight to the ground and get submitted. So I've got Vera via sub probably in the first round in that one there. Moving on, Shane O'Malley's back. The Sugar Show. I'm really looking forward to seeing Shane O'Malley back. I'm a big fan of the kid. I really am. Like this matchmaking as well against Teco Quinones. I think Sean O'Malley's been working a lot on his jiu-jitsu game. And we've seen Quinones have spots where he's been a little bit outmatched on the ground. Seen Nathaniel Wood jump onto the back, catch him there. Sean O'Malley's been fighting in Quintet. He's been representing the UFC in some things. He's had some BJJ matches. But we know that his skill set is made to his like crisp, technical, fast hand striking. And this is why I'm looking forward to seeing him. He's had some issues with the USADA, which is never a good look. We had a couple of instances with that. We all know what he likes to do outside of the cage, and that's up to him as well. But he's long, he's flashy with his striking. Quinones, being a hard, tough-nosed Mexican, is going to probably want to engage in that. But yeah, he lands at a very high rate, and Teco Quinones, I think, will be at the end of this. He shot fairly easily. So for a comeback fight for Sean O'Malley, I think it's a really decent spot. But could he be a little bit rusty because he's not fought in close to 2 years? Last fight was nearly 2 years. Holy shit! So it's going to be a full 2 years that he hasn't fought. That has went really quick just looking at that date there. And obviously we had that Sukumtath fight where he was beating Sukumtath's backside, then gets that injury, and Sukumtath, with the lowest fight IQ maybe in the sport, decides he wants to take him down when he could probably just blast him out in the feet, kick a leg out for him, and that would be done. The Shane O'Malley fight against Terrion Ware. Terrion Ware's always up for a kind of scrap on the feet. He was completely outboxed. Sean O'Malley was too slick. He mixed in takedowns. Like I say, for me, I think this, outside of him maybe being rusty, I think he should really piece up Quinones on the feet. If he takes us to the ground, I think he could submit him. So I'm probably going to take a little play maybe on Sean O'Malley via submission in that one. Really happy he's back. I'm probably going to parlay him up. He's definitely someone I should maybe look at actually now before the line starts to inflate in fight week and pair him up with someone for this card. But I've got Sean O'Malley to come back here and win another UFC fight. Neil Magny against Li Jingliang. This is a close fight. Where's Neil Magny been in? I think he's been out injured for a while as well, because the fight in Liverpool, Ponzinibbio, 2018. So yeah, he's been out for close to 16 months by fight time. So that's a long time for him to be out. Obviously, that was a kind of nasty knockout in Argentina. I think he's had some injuries since then. But again, he's a guy that's made so many improvements throughout the years in the UFC that you got to give the guy respect. You really do, because he's kind of there. He's got some decent names on his record. I mean, anytime you've got Kelvin Gastelum, you've got Condit on your record, I know you've got a win over Johnny Hendricks. Not that it's saying much of the Johnny Hendricks of 2016 or whenever it was, but it's a win nonetheless. Li Jingliang, love watching the guy fight. I thought, like I said, I loved this fight against Zaleski. I thought he fought an absolute great fight in that one, and obviously got the knockout win in China in the late in the third round. I think he was well on his way to winning that fight. I thought he was up 2 rounds, and he put the exclamation mark by that. When you look at the Zawada win now, that's actually a really, really good win. Knockout in the third round there. Super aggressive. Can fight a little bit dirty sometimes. He can put the fingers out there and pop them in the eyes. You've seen that with the Jake Matthew one. I actually watched that fight the other day there, watching Jake Matthews fight. But that was his last loss. A couple of 3 wins in a row. I think I like him in that spot there, but he's got to kind of get inside the reach of Neil Magny. What's the reach difference with these two? So a 9-inch reach advantage, and Magny uses it well to an extent. He throws out teep kicks, can throw out long jabs, but Li Jingliang's his forward pressure is so aggressive that he's going to get in the face of Neil Magny, and if he starts to land shots, he could easily bomb him out. He lands far more than Neil Magny. He doesn't absorb as much. He doesn't absorb all too much more than Neil Magny, and I don't think Neil Magny's got the tools to really push this guy back. He can maybe try and grapple with him. Might try and do that. I'm not too sure. But what's the betting line in that actually? Li Jingliang. Minus 175 plus 155 Neil Magny. I think that should be a little bit closer personally for my liking. But I probably have got Li Jingliang to win that fight just through his aggressiveness. So, yeah. Derek Brunson against Edmund Shabazian. A lot of people are putting a lot of their eggs into Edmund Shabazian being a top guy. But we need to remember, he's still, what, 21, 22 years old? 22 with only 11 fights, but you can see the potential with the kid. You really can. I wasn't impressed with his debut against Darren Stewart. Showed a lot of his takedown kind of offense in that fight. Because he really, I think his conditioning was completely out the window for that fight. I don't think he was ready for that spot. But ultimately, he came in there against a guy as tough as Darren Stewart, who's making strides, and took him down and controlled him for the vast majority of the fight, and lost and won a very close split decision. Then you kind of seen the real Edwin Shabazian come out against Charles Bird. Big shot, elbows, took him out. Then Jack Marshman, you've seen the submission game that he's got. So you can see this guy's a threat on the feet, a threat on the ground, and then he comes in against Brad Tavares, hard-nosed Hawaiian striker, caught him with a beautifully countered high kick. I think it was a left high kick, straight to the dome, took him out. Big win. UFC's got themselves a star here. And then you give him Derek Brunson, who he could counter very well, but Derek Brunson is a tough fighter. I'm seeing people, like, I had 2 people come up to me, send me messages regarding this fight and saying Edmund Shabazian should be like minus 500-600, and I was like, you guys are batshit crazy if you think the line should be that. It was at, I think he opened minus 450. Or maybe something a bit high. That it came all the way down to minus 145. He's now at minus 250 with a comeback on Brunson at plus 210. Derek Brunson's a tough fighter. I don't care what anybody says. He's a hard fight because he's so aggressive. He's in his face. But this could be the fight here that he could, like, the Shabazian could absolutely maybe counter him and spark him clean out. And when I think Derek Brunson's got a lot of nervous energy coming into a fight. I think when there's too much on the line, I think he folds a little bit, and all he knows is just to bum rush forward, and that's when he can get taken out. You've seen it with the Adesanya fight, where he just really just fell into the game of Adesanya, and then once Adesanya really found his feet, he started picking him off, and the combinations for that finish was legit beautiful to kind of watch. Then he got a couple of good rebound fights. Elias Theodorou, who's no longer with the UFC, did enough with his striking, but his takedowns and his kind of ability to move to different positions won him the fight. Then the Ian Heinisch fight really mixed everything well together. So what's up, Jason? Yeah, I'm not kind of concrete and dry on picking Edmund Shabazian here, but everything kind of lines up for him to really win the fight. The UFC really see a kind of star potential with this kid, and the way he's garnering finishes the way he is, I um, I think that he can maybe get another spectacular knockout. But this kid looks the real deal. He does. He looks very, very good. We've seen a little bit of everything with his grappling, with his submission grappling, with his striking. He's very dangerous, and he's the new breed fighter. Um, Against someone like Derek Brunson, who we have seen knocked out in the past. So another big test for Edmund Shabazian. I'm probably going to pick him, but I think the line should be a little bit closer than what it is. I think she should be maybe below -200. Throw some respect on Derek Brunson, but yeah, I'm probably on the Shabazian side of that one. Moving on to the co-main event, Weili Zhang against Joanna Champion. I'm going to come out and say it. I'm on Joanna Champion's side here, or Joanna Jędrzejczyk, I should really call her. She's not champion. I think a lot of people are all in on Weili Zhang, and I still think there's um, a lot that we need to learn from Weili Zhang. Like, she obviously, you look at her last performance, she comes out there and she knocks out Andrade in the first couple of minutes of the fight. But then you have to look at the previous fights before that. Like, how do you go from knocking out Jessica Andrade, but then having a little bit of a back and forward fight with Danielle Taylor, Tisha Torres? I mean, I'm not 100% sold on Weili Zhang, and now she's facing the kind of standard bearer for the division. Now, obviously, with Joanna, you are really, really kind of like the Corey Anderson situation. If you catch her with the right shot, you can maybe hurt her. But to me, I think Weili Zhang's going to want to really get her into the clinch, really try and hurt her there. Joanna is really good at maintaining distance and fighting on the back foot. And I think if this fight gets out the first round, I think Joanna has got a really good opportunity to win this fight. I really do. I am surprised at the betting odds as well. She is Joanna Jędrzejczyk plus 145. Like I say, I need to watch a few more fights, but I know I was impressed with Weili Zhang. I honestly did not think she was going to beat Jessica Andrade, and people were telling me in fight week on here, you have to pick Weili Zhang, and I went the other way, and obviously I got made to look a fool by it, because she went out there and did the business in China. Such a huge moment for the sport as well, having a Chinese champion. But I think I've got Joanna to win this fight, and I don't think I'm going to change my stance on that by watching more fights. I just think that if she gets through that first round in a bit, she could really start to put a lot of pressure on with her striking and really bring the mistakes out of Weili Zhang. But then, if with this fight, Weili Zhang's obviously got some power. She's very aggressive, but I can see Joanna really counting her up and really hitting her hard. I think, like I say, I'm probably going to be on Joanna Jędrzejczyk for this fight. I'm seeing there was some people earlier on in the chat there that were talking about Weili Zhang. Like I say, I respect her because she's got a championship belt on, but I think this is, if Joanna wants her belt back, I think this is an opportunity where she can really come out here and lay the marker down as the best fight we've seen in that division. But always a tough fight. Obviously, as well, the whole coronavirus stuff. Weili Zhang's been kind of moved out of China. She went to Thailand. She got moved out of Thailand. I think she's in Abu Dhabi now. So she's been kind of shifted all around the place. So that's never a good thing when you're moving your camp to camp to camp and getting ready for a championship fight. It's never easy. I thought they would have probably brought them to America with you, maybe put in the PI, but obviously not. But I'm probably going to side on Joanna Champion to become the champion again in that fight. But looking forward to that. And then you move on to the main event. I mean, holy shit. I mean, Israel Adesanya against Yoel Romero. What a great fight. And I love what Israel Adesanya is doing, because let's face it, Yoel Romero does not deserve this title shot. He doesn't. There's other people that are more deserving than him. But Israel Adesanya has come out, he's laid down the mark, said, I want to fight the best, toughest guys in my era, in my division. And that's something that you have to give massive credit to Adesanya, because Nobody wants to fight Yoel Romero. Very little people want to put their name in the hat and face this guy because he is such a specimen, athletic freak, hits hard. You are always in danger at any point in this fight with a guy like Yoel Romero. Obviously, he's got the wrestling background, but he's got dangerous, vicious, explosive striking. Honestly, I don't think he makes the weight. I'd be surprised. Um, I don't think I've still got that feeling he'll not make the weight. But the guy is. I love watching Yoel Romero fight. The only thing that really I don't like is just the way he kind of play acts a little bit. Like it baffles me how people thought he beat Paulo Costa. I have this thought about me sometimes regarding fights, like the John Jones fight. I thought he 49-46 Thiago Santos, and then you've got the fight with Dominic Reyes. I personally had it 48-47 for John Jones, but I'm not going to agree with anybody that had it the other way. It was a very, very close run fight. But people were like really upset that Yoel Romero lost that fight against Paulo Costa. I thought Paulo Costa did more, landed more, had more kind of damaging blows. But the way Yoel is, that he maybe fights like that where the fights are kind of close and people are on him. But I didn't like the play acting. But it is fun. I think this fight's going to be a lot of crazy shit going down. I really do. I think both guys are going to be play acting. There's going to be a lot of stuff going between these two back and forward. We've seen the press conference last week where Izzy's called him a liar because he says he's never missed weight, and then Yoel Romero's fucking backflipping and shit on the stage for a 40-plus-year-old guy to be doing that. It's crazy. But I when I seen Adesanya in the UFC, I never thought he would get. I thought he'd get in the top 5, but I didn't think he would escalate that quick where he's in there, and he destroyed Bobby Whittaker last year. That was the guy's such a sniper at distance as well. His range is amazing, and he could potentially push Romero back, kind of like Paulo Costa did, and really pick his shots and try and pinpoint strikes maybe to the body or so on. But you can never count out someone like Yoel Romero. I'm not counting out Yoel Romero. I think that Adesanya is a little bit too high. That betting line's a little bit too high. But what we've seen from Adesanya in fights is the guy's got heart for days, super durable. That Gastelum fight, I mean, when he comes, I think he came out in that 5th round and he says, like, it's me or you, do or die, I want this more. And he came out and the sheer strong-willed head on that guy in that 5th round to come out there and absolutely leave it all on the line, take some shots, give some shots, and absolutely whip Kelvin Gastelum's fucking arse in that 5th round is something that I love seeing in a fighter. This guy wants to fight the best. He just wants to go out there, put on a performance. He's one of the biggest stars, I think. I think outside of Conor, he's right up there. Hopefully he starts to get more traction with that, starts to make some serious money. More people jump on the bandwagon. Some people don't like him. I think he's a class athlete, and for him to want to come in here, face a guy like Yoel Romero, more props to that guy, because like I say, there are other people that are more deserving than Yoel Romero, but not many people are putting their ticket in the hat and wanting to fight that guy. So my gut feeling in that fight was Yoel Romero. Actually, I thought this might be the spot here where he's not really earned his way into the title shot, and he's going to come out here and he's going to win the fight. But when I have watched a couple of fights regarding this with Adesanya, I just think he's in such a great spot in his career that he might come out here and maybe put on a show against Yoel Romero and maybe outpoint him. But you can never count out Yoel Romero from a fight ever, because he's such a dangerous guy in so many aspects of the fight, and he's never, ever, ever out of it. So probably leaning Adesanya right now, but I am going to watch a couple more fights in the next week. That's probably going to be the last fight I'll watch before making my predictions, because I have watched a couple of fights of that regarding that already. That's the only fight I've really watched. So yeah, so that's my early insight to UFC 248. I hope you enjoyed that. It's just me talking through the fights a little bit before my official predictions in probably the next 2 weeks or whenever it'll be. But I see you guys in the chat there. Really appreciate you guys. I've got like 35 to 40 people in the chat there. So if you want to give your boy a thumbs up, a late thumbs up before I go out here. I'd be much appreciated. If any of you guys get any quick questions before I head off to bed, if you get anything there, I've seen someone saying that Magomed was lock of the night there. We'll see that. Yeah, I think it's a really good card. It's a fun card, this one. A lot of good matchups, and I'm looking forward to the 2 title fights especially because I think we're going to have a new champion with Joanna, and I'm never writing off Yoel Romero. I mean, at plus 200 as well. So I see you guys in there. Adesanya, he does like, yeah, madman. He is a bit of a madman. He is. My Harris question, what was that again regarding Overeem? What's my pick? I'd probably pick Walt Harris. I think I want all the good karma in the world to be on that guy after the shit that he's been through. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I want all the good karma to be on Walt Harris's side and really giving this win for him and his family to come through that seriously bad situation which happened towards the end of last year. But Overeem's a savvy vet, and I mean, this is a step up again for Walt Harris to make a move up into that division. So, how do you think Joanna beats Zhang? I think Shout points her. I think that the aggression of Zhang is going to play completely into Joanna's hands there. If she doesn't get cracked with a shot and gets hurt, then I think she can outpoint her. I actually think she should be the betting favourite. I thought that from the minute the betting lines came out. I thought this is a good style matchup for Joanna and Jacek. And if she doesn't get hit with a big shot, then she can ultimately win the fight. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with that one. I would rather be on that side than Weili Zhang. I'm still not 100% convinced with her. So, yeah. Did you do the companion? Yeah, it wasn't working. I was having trouble. So, I don't know what was going on because I was looking forward to that. But, yeah. Will it hinder his performance? It could hinder his performance, absolutely, because that's a lot of shit to be coming into a fight and having that in your back. It's got to still be in his head. I sound weird. I sound Scottish, my brother. That's what it is. So, yeah. Like I say, it's a tough fight to come into, so yeah. But like I say, all my good karma really wants to be in Walt Harris's side, and I hope he wins that fight. He can knock out Overeem, but Overeem can also really hurt him as well. So yeah, guys, I think I'm going to get myself to bed because it is now coming up to 2:15 AM in the morning. My little one's probably going to be up in the next 6 hours or so. And then we're going shopping tomorrow. Yay! So me and the missus and the daughter are going shopping. So, yeah, that'll be fun. Not. But I am going to Under Armour store again. So that's always something fun. So I'll end up probably spending a bit of money in there. What do you think about Calderwood against Shevchenko? I think that's the fight to make. I was talking with MMA Huddle, John, who I do the MMA Huddle with. I was looking at the Dublin card and thinking about main events. Now, I've got a couple of things in mind regarding the main event for that show. I either think it's going to be Volkan Ozdemir against Thiago Santos, or as a wild card, I was thinking maybe Valentina Shevchenko against Joanne Calderwood as the main event in Dublin, because they need a big fight in that main event slot, because the Irish fans are kind of known, if you've not got an Irish fight on the main card, they kind of leave the event, which is not great, but if they've not got any local interest in it, they seem to kind of fade away. It's the same with the Bellator cards a little bit. That's why they put James Gallagher on there and really make sure that he stays there. They've got Lee McCourt this weekend. She'll garner a bit of interest. But I would really like a Valentina Shevchenko against Joanne Calderwood fight, just the main event in Dublin. I think the fans would love a title fight in that spot. And I'm going to be going to the Dublin event, 100% I'm going to be going to that event. I would love a title fight. I'd love to see Valentina fighting in the flesh. And against Jojo, that would be extra kind of motivation as well, because you've got a Scottish girl that's fighting for a strap, even though she would be in a very, very tough spot to win that fight. But yeah, that's my kind of looks at that. But we're closing in on 50 minutes here, guys. Like I say, this is just my video for early insight, just to make sure, just to kind of have a little talk about the card regarding that. I appreciate everybody for giving me a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Check out my UFC Auckland picks, which I did this afternoon. They're out there as well. So until the UFC Norfolk card next week, thank you very, very much. All the best, and I appreciate the support more than you'll ever know. So all the very best, guys. Peace.